Hey everyone, my name is Nick, my pronouns are they, he, and I am your Liberation Officer, and these are my semester successes. So let's start off with the Black Student Experience Working Group. This is a collaborative group that with the university in which we have been collating feedback from our Black students on a variety of different topics, such as academic, social, support, also looking at specific experiences such as the postgraduate experience, international student experience, and we have our last session of postgraduate experience on the 19th of June. But that has been going really well, and the recommendations that we have got will be going on forward in the next academic year to make sure that the university implements them to make a better experience for our Black students. The next one we have is the expansion of prayer spaces on campus. So there's just been a business case that has been approved and signed by the academic registrar for a multi-faith space in Percy G, so our student union building, and this will be going ahead and works will start in the summer. So holding the university to account, this will be ready and works will be ready in the academic year 23-24. They are also approving satellite spaces, so these will be spaces on central campus that individuals can go and pray. That means that within a 5-minute walking distance of central campus, you should be able to have a prayer space or a space for you to use to pray. Next, we have the Black Excellence Gala. So this was an idea from our current PTO officer, our BAME officer, Jay Thomas, and this event happened on the 1st of June. Where we celebrated our Black students. There was awards. We had a guest speaker, Kevin Osei, who founded the charity Bridging Barriers. We also had a DJ Qualms, and we had food from Grounded Kitchen, which is absolutely amazing. And our students, they really enjoyed it. The feedback I got was that it definitely needs to happen next year, so definitely look out for that next year with the next Liberation Officer. And lastly, I've been working with the university on their allyship toolkits, specifically their LGBT allyship toolkit. So this is something that will be on SharePoint for staff to share resources and support on LGBT issues, as well as external support and organisations that can help in their learning on how to be a better active ally. I've also been working with the university's equalities team to deliver LGBT allyship training to staff, and currently the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. Staff feel as though they are learning new things and better ways to approach students and better ways in which they can be more inclusive in their approach from their everyday lives also. It's been a really good range of individuals, not just academic staff, but also the professional services staff, which has been really positive, and hopefully they will be continuing this in the academic year. We have just made an online version for them, for staff members to use if they cannot come in person, so that's really good. Regardless of who is in post, they will be getting allyship training. So those are all my semester successes, and it's also going to be my last one. This is the end of my term. I finish on the 30th of June. So I just want to say a massive thank you for all the support that I've gotten over these 2 years, goodness me, over the 2 years from the students, from the staff members at the union, as well as the university. Massive thank you to you as the students. I couldn't do my job without you. I hope you guys realize that I genuinely wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for you. I'm here to serve you, and I feel like I have done that to the best of my ability, and I hope that you can say so too. So thank you. This job has given me so many opportunities, but more importantly, it's given me that space to do the thing that I love, which is equality and diversity and making a more inclusive campus. So yeah, this is bye from me, and most importantly, thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Archie, and this will be my final semester successes as your sports officer for this year. So to start off with is probably my biggest event throughout the second semester, and that was my Parasports Week, which I held. Through this project, I was able to create the university's first ever competitive parasport offer, showing my own desire to make our sporting community more inclusive, but also it represented the students' desire to get involved in something that they may have never seen before. Over the course of 3 days, this event was taken part by over 150 students showing passion and desire for parasports at our university. And this is something that, although I won't be in the sport role moving forward, that I know will continue, and I'm really, really happy that it's now ingrained at our university. This event led to a successful partnership with Leicester Tigers and their wheelchair rugby team specifically, which contains many Paralympians, gold medalists and GB qualified coaches. As mentioned, this partnership is now ingrained in our university, and we have commitment from them to help us in the future to do any parasport events, which is really fantastic. We then moved to probably the most student-facing event this university does, which is varsity, and this varsity was a huge success and no different on the university calendar. We had some of the biggest turnouts in our history. We had over 2,500 students at Welford Road watching the rugby, and we had over 1,000 students attending a single event indoors, which was the basketball, which I went to, which was absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to go again next year. But many of our events had over 500 students in attendance, which is really brilliant to see that post-COVID engagement in our students and sports. This year, I also created the This Body Enables Me campaign to run alongside this year's varsity, a campaign which supported body neutrality at our university, and this was in conjunction with our varsity coordinator on Sports Council. This gave support to students to help them feel more included within our student community, and it's a campaign that hasn't really been done on a scale of this before, so I'm really proud of what we were able to achieve there. We then moved on to Sports Awards, and I co-hosted our annual events recognising over 114 individual students in sport, which is amazing. We hosted the event for over 450 students, and it was just a fantastic evening. The student feedback, the staff feedback was all positive, and I can't wait next year to almost be a student again and have no kind of involvement and see it from a different perspective. And I'm really excited to see what the sports clubs will do in the coming year. We recognised 12 individual clubs and student leaders with over 50 club colours and 50 maroons given out to students for their commitment and their sporting achievement. Alongside this, I also managed to get a £5,000 grant to help students to attend this event during the cost of living crisis, which was a big win also, and that was shown by more of an uptake from students this year than last year. We also had our Activities Awards, which I also co-hosted alongside our lovely Education Officer AnneMarie, and this was an annual event that is now ingrained in the union with over 150 people in attendance, and we recognised 13 different student groups and 56 individuals through the Special Recognition Award for their outstanding achievement and commitment to their student group. It was a fantastic event, and I cannot wait already for next year. Back to some more sports specific things. We have been working with Team Leicester to secure a new partnership in our kit sponsorship moving forward. As many people know, we are no longer with Viper 10, and we have partnered with a fantastic new company, which I'll keep quiet for now and you'll see coming up. And it's taken a lot of work and a lot of admin and a lot of seeing what's going to be best for our students, but I promise you, if you keep your eyes out, it won't disappoint. This group are well renowned for delivering on student sports, and I can't wait to see how our Team Leicester clubs are going to look next year. Second to last, we have the Be the Influence programme. I reinvigorated the way we presented our inclusion programme, Be the Influence, this year, and that's been represented through our record-breaking attendance. Working closely with our Liberation and Inclusion advisor, Ebony, we have done 2 sessions so far, misogyny in sport and LGBTQ+ inclusion in sport, and we had over 117 attendees over the 2 sessions, which is fantastic. And this will be continued by Joe, your new sports officer, across the summer and into October, which then you will be fully qualified in inclusion, and your club will be able to represent and show to students that they are striving to be more inclusive, which is really vital for us moving forward as an institution with our offer wanting to be the most inclusive offer in HE. And finally, elections. I was elected to be your SU president next year, and I can't wait to get started. Sport has a very special place in my heart, and it is something that will always stay close to me, but I did think it was time for me to move into a different position, and I'm so excited to move into that and learn some new skills and have more of a focus on all students rather than just students who are interested in sport. I've been handing over to Joe, and I equally know how much good work he's going to do for you guys, and I'm excited to see our team thrive next year and have the support of the students moving forward. So they're my semester successes. If you have any questions about any of those, please feel free to get in touch. But otherwise, I will see you when I am your SU president.
Hi, my name is Rhiannon, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm your Student Union President, and this is my final semester successes. First of all, I'm going to start with Sticky Campus, which has probably been my favourite project to work on over the last 2 years. For those of you who don't know, it's all about making campus more accessible and more affordable. We started in my first year with a conference talking to students and staff about what they wanted to see on campus to make them kind of stick to it, hence the name. So for Sticky Campus, which I've just explained, the budget has been approved for 100k for next year, which is going to give you so many things I need a list to remember. So we've got breakfast at Brookfield and Percy G continuing for 22 weeks, funded by myself and Sticky Campus. Event Student Experience Officer for the events team to provide student experience events specifically. 3 Campus Life Ambassadors to tell you what to do, where to do and how to get there. Global Lounge event, so we're reopening the Global Lounge, which will give more global cafe provisions. That's like once every couple of months food to give you kind of an insight into the global life that we have here on campus. Event fund for student societies to apply to so that you continue to the fantastic events that you did this year, such as Strictly Come Dancing, but we'll fund it. Cooking club and inter-college varsity, student society storage clear out, because a lot of stuff has been left here over the last couple of years, and we want to make sure that anything that has been left is kind of being sustainably disposed of and making room for next year's committee members. And now I'm going to take a drink. Just in time for September, you are going to have a new gaming lounge, you are going to have a new multi-use space, you're going to have a new performance space, and you're going to have the Global Lounge opening to provide more experience and space for you guys on campus to use how you need it, which has been a massive piece of feedback from not only our student groups, but also individual students. So hopefully that's all finishing in July, and then you'll be able to experience it from September onwards. After a really successful round of recruitment where we saw 70 applicants, we've also hired our new CEO, and I'm really excited for them to start in September to hit the ground running just in time to see freshers go off. I'm really, really glad that we've managed to fill this position. It's essential for the management and the kind of development of the union, and I'm really excited that I've got to do it alongside Archie so that the new CEO will be brought on board with full faith of the board and all the executive members. I also work with the university to restart the sexual violence working group, and with them we have agreed 2 new massive principles moving forward, which have been asked for by students for a long, long, long time. One of them is to introduce student representation on the panel, and we're hopeful that this will come into place in January 2024. This is in line with OIA recommendations and means that there's always a student voice in the room advocating for our students. We're also introducing more transparency for our reporting students. So at the moment, only the reported students get to see all the witness reports, but we're changing that so the reporting student gets to see it as well, to increase transparency and make sure the process is as robust as possible so that students know we're always on their side. I've also worked with the university's registrar and secretary to negotiate our new block grant, and I'm really happy to say that this is an increase from last year, which means we'll continue to be able to deliver all of our fantastic provisions for students so that your experience won't be impacted in spite of the inflationary increases going across the country. I've also reviewed our trustee board almanac. For those of you who don't know, the union is a registered charity, which means we are monitored by a trustee board, and as part of this we meet 4 times a year, but I've increased that to 5 times a year to improve transparency across the organisation, to make sure that our officers are being held to account through a proper scrutiny process. I'd like to say a massive thank you for all the support the students have given me over the last 2 years. I've loved every minute of it. It's been the best part of my life, and I'm really, really excited to see what Archie does in the role, and I know he will do a fantastic job.
Hi everyone, my name's Jack, my pronouns are he, him, and I'm your activities officer for this year. So I wanted to kick it off with talking about our refreshers fair that took place in January. We had an average of around 2,000 people on each day, and it was really, really successful. I can't wait to see what we do with freshers in September. We were also preparing for our Raising and Giving Month in February. So essentially it was found that a lot of different campaigns and international projects happen in February. So I know, for example, from my end, there was Go Green Week, there was Volunteer Week on the exact same week, there's also Sexual Violence Awareness Week, LGBTQ+ History Month, and a couple of other different things. So essentially what we did is we merged it all together in one Raising and Giving Month. It was less so about the money and more so about time and volunteering. So essentially the first week was the Sexual Violence Awareness Week, the second was Go Green Week, and the third was LGBTQ+ History Week. Those were sort of our 3 themes that we dedicated for RAG Month. I just wanted to thank all of the student groups who got involved in those RAG Month activities and who organised them themselves, because it makes it amazing, and we'll be seeing what we do next year and how we can prepare people more in advance, and so they can put on a lot more activities and involve them in the general RAG month. The next thing I wanted to talk about was a number of different funds we had. So as I may have talked about in a previous video, I got an extra £5,000 for a new student group starter fund, which came from an additional fund that university gave to us because they had increased recruitment this year. That £5,000, we got £100 that we were giving to each new student group that didn't take money from an existing bank account that they previously might have adopted. So if you, say, start a Curry Society, they existed a couple of years ago, you may adopt the money that they had when they finished, and that will be what you start off with, so that gives you an advantage. Whereas those who start off with nothing, if they're a completely new student group, or if they start with less than 100, if they've adopted a bank account, they'll get that 100. So that's an amazing new thing. It was launched in January, and we've been seeing how it goes. The next thing is just to let you know about, we had an academic fund this year, which meant that every first year student who joined an academic student group got their membership subsidised up to £10 depending on the student group. This went really well, but we did change it a little bit because there aren't student groups at every single course and not as many first year students took the fund up as well as we might have thought. So that meant we changed some of it so that it became sort of a fund that students could apply for, or academic student groups, for things like events and projects with mainly a focus on integrating and welcoming first years. That went really well. That helped with our grant funding, because in grant funding we had around £55,000 worth of applications in the entire year. We budgeted for £24,000 because normally that's exactly how much we get in a year. But this year, for some reason, we got almost double that, over double that. However, with the academic fund, because it wasn't taken up as much as we thought, we had an extra £10,000 that we could put into grant funding to offset the additional costs. So any academic-based grant funding applications that would fall under this category, we then moved over. So that meant we had an additional £10,000, so £34,000 worth of grant funding for £55,000 worth of academic, worth of applications. It worked quite well, so that was a big success. So you might think that there is a little bit of a gap between 55,000 and 34,000. Well, I did too, and I managed to get an extra 10,000 for grant funding by writing a proposal to the university. So that meant that I basically explained to them the purpose of grant funding, the value of it, and thankfully it was approved and we got an extra 10,000. So that's £44,000 for £55,000 worth of applications. So we really managed to, you know, at least approve as many as we could. So I'm quite happy with how it turned out. We'll see how it goes next year if we get loads of applications. If not, the funds can be reattributed, but it's all unknown, but it's all positive. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. We just fast-tracked into March, which essentially was re-election date. So for those of you who don't know, I was re-elected to be the activities officer for next year as well. So big positive thing. But on to actual projects that happened. We had two big events. So one was the Strictly Come Dancing event that happened on campus. So what that was essentially Dance Sports Society organised a dancing competition and got involved with a bunch of different societies like Lacrosse, Indian Society, Leicester Marrow, who brought in Anthony Nolan, which was the charity that they were fundraising for that event, who is local, as well as a couple of other student groups. And it was such an amazing event. I was lucky enough to host it, and I can't wait to host it next year if they let me. The next thing was something called the Big Sleep, which essentially was this overnight stay on campus where you sleep outside, and to get local your family and people you know to sort of fund you to do this event. We had a number of student groups involved in that, so ladies hockey, for example, jiu-jitsu, men's football, and a couple others. So thank you so much for those who got involved. We raised £7,000 or over that for a local charity called The Bridge, Homelessness to Hope, who work to support local homeless people in Leicester. So that was amazing. I was really glad I got to be involved in that. And again, I can't wait to see what we do with it next year. The secret third thing was that those two events took place one after the other. My birthday was the day after. I just wanted to put that in there. Next thing I wanted to talk about was how we changed handover and affiliation for committee members. So basically we felt that handover as a process, so from incoming committee and outgoing committee, it's not really consistent necessarily. There's no way we supervise it and see how it goes. So one thing we wanted to do was introduce a new affiliation document. Basically we get the outgoing committee to hand over to the incoming committee, basically write down what they talked about, any guidance, things they'd want to know when they started, and it's something for us to review. It's just us trying it out. They've submitted it now. We'll see what the upsides and downsides of this was. Obviously there is the immediate risk that sometimes incoming committee don't have any contact with their outgoing committee. which isn't fair, and they can't do it, and that's what our training exists to support with. But when we can, we want to encourage handover as much as possible, so we'll work from what we've got and see how it works. We're also looking into committee training. That's tied in with that. Committee training comes immediately after affiliation documents, so what that means is all committee members go through certain modules and go through training, and we thought training's a little bit boring at the moment. You go through like a click-through website, and then you do like a quiz, and if you get the quiz wrong you go back, which is a really good system, but we kind of wanted it to be a little bit more engaging, especially because we have guidebooks that are really interesting and have a bit more information, like a global calendar for example. So what we're doing is we're converting all of these modules onto something called Sway. We're going to be adding videos that I'll be filming throughout June, and just making it so that it is a little bit more interesting, and hopefully we'll see where it goes and develop it from there, but that just wants to make incoming committees' lives a little bit easier over the summer as they prepare for freshers and next year. Something that did happen in May is something called the Activities and Voice Awards that we took part in and helped to organise. We had around 11 awards, and we had something called Special Recognition. Special Recognition used to be like an award for people who got shortlisted but didn't really get any specific awards, but they were shortlisted a lot. This year, Special Recognition is actually like an individual award. So we looked into sports awards. They have something called Club Colours that individuals can win for basically an outstanding contribution to their club and to the community. We have 200 societies around about, and we have around 1,000 committee members and around 9,000 members. 11 awards in my mind isn't quite enough, so we wanted to do individual special recognition awards. We gave it around 56 based on the number of applications we had and people we knew. We'll see what we can do with it next year, but the awards went amazingly. I'm so proud of everyone who did really well, and a special shout out to Equestrian and Polo who won Student Group of the Year, so well done to them. The last thing I want to talk about is freshers, that we're planning for that, and I am leading on it myself. It will be happening in September as usual, but we plan early because that's just how things work and how it is for a big, large-scale event, which is probably our biggest student footfall in the year. Things are going really well. I am happy with the progress so far. I'm happy with some of the interesting things that you'll get to learn about soon as we go, some cool new things. So I can't wait to see how it goes, and I can't wait to see in a few months' time when all the new students come, and it goes amazingly. I'm sure it will. So thank you all for listening to my semester successes. A lot's happened, a lot of course I still haven't been able to talk about, but there's only so much time of the day, so thank you all for listening.
Hi everyone, my name's Hoor, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm your Students' Union Wellbeing Officer. This is a quick video just to tell you about some of the things that I've been up to over this semester. First things first, I think the biggest success that I can share with you guys, and hopefully it's one that you guys have already, that you already know about, but it's that I got re-elected. So I'm really, really excited to be able to be your Wellbeing Officer again next year and continue some of the work that I've started this year. I look forward to seeing loads of you up freshers too. Moving on, some of the biggest things that I've been working on this year has been the cost of living crisis. So over semester 2, I was very happy to continue delivering my free breakfast project. That came to an end just before Easter, as was agreed when I got the funding, and over 120 of you came daily. I also was interviewed by the BBC and Leicester Mercury for this, so it was very, very exciting that it got so much recognition, but also thank you guys for coming, and I'm hoping to continue doing that for you next year. One of the other things that I've been working on this year has been sexual violence awareness and survivor support, and I'm very happy to share with you a progress that's been made. So the university has agreed and has successfully reinstated the Sexual Violence and Misconduct Working Group, which is essentially a couple of us from the Students' Union, myself included, and various stakeholders and important colleagues from the university coming together to meet regularly to discuss how we can continue prioritising survivor support and making sure that sexual violence awareness and misconduct across the university is taken seriously. I'll share updates with you on the progress of that as it comes. Another thing that I've been working on in similar pursuit has been sexual violence awareness, and so in February I was very happy to be able to deliver a very successful week where a lot of you were able to come and feel comfortable and empowered to share your experiences and to meet with Jasmine House, who do some fantastic work across Leicester with survivors. I also did a therapy dog session and lush bath bomb making, which you all really enjoyed, and over 150 of you came to my myth busting session, which I'm hoping to be able to continue doing next year. Thank you so much for being involved with that, and for those of you that were very brave and shared your stories. This really helps to continue destigmatizing such a subject. Another exciting thing that I've been working on across the year with AnneMarie, the education officer, has been de-stress. So we did January de-stress, where over 2,000 of you came and joined us in the library for free drinks, snacks and cuddle buddies. It was really nice to see so many of you, and I'm so glad that you all enjoyed it, and we helped you in a little way to de-stress, decompress, and hopefully to take a break from studying and exams. We followed this up with Medics De-Stress, the first ever Medics De-Stress, and in that we were able to give away 300 goodie bags to medics after their exams over at the Big Shed. Again, we got loads of positive feedback for this. We really enjoyed putting it together. All those bags had so many things that you hopefully will be able to make use of for those of you that received it. And again, if we are able to get the funding next year, it's definitely something that I want to continue doing and hopefully try and reward you and treat you with some surprises as we did this year. Moving on to summer, we had our biggest ever de-stress just a few weeks ago, where over 3,500 of you joined us across the week. This was supplemented by a very generous support package from the student support services from the university, in which they allowed us to get a significant amount of money to be able to deliver our first ever De-Stress Festival, which over 1,300 of you came to, where I had hook a duck, an ice cream van, and lots of other activities out on the lawn for you. Some of you may have also been to the petting zoo that I organised. Again, this was something that I really enjoyed putting on for you, and so many of you came, so it's something that I hopefully will be able to continue next year. Hopefully it's not too long until you see a pet pony on campus again. Those are some things that I've been working on this year. If you've got anything that you'd like me to continue working on over summer next year, please get in touch, and take care, stay safe, treat people with kindness. Bye.
Hi there, my name is AnneMarie, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm your education officer. These are my semester successes. The first success is the work that Rhiannon and I have been doing surrounding PGR students and working on our PGR strategy. So we have finalized our role description for our PGR reps. We attended and spoke at Doctoral College Week, which was so lovely to meet loads of our postgraduate students. And then finally, we're just finishing our strategy so that we can move forward over the next 3 years in improving our PGR representation. The next success is TEF. So we have finalized the draft TEF action plan with the university using your feedback from the TEF survey in semester 1. We're ensuring that this information is taken forward through an action plan. We have assigned university staff members to these individual action statements, and we're excited to release the TEF action plan to students in the next month or so. This TEF action plan will include issues that are consistently brought up around the university, such as timetabling, feedback, assessment, engagement in sport, and learning resources. The next success is that your Wellbeing officer Hoor and I have put on 3 amazing de-stress weeks. We did our first ever de-stress event for our final year medics after their exam, where we passed out goodie bags to say congratulations and good job on all the hard work these last 5 years. We held our general January de-stress, which was incredible, and thanks to the university we secured extra funding to make our May de-stress week bigger and better than ever. We engaged with around 4,000 students, which is incredible. We had a fun fair on Friday, a petting zoo, and throughout the week we were in the library giving out free fruit, snacks, and hot drinks. So thanks for coming to visit de-stress. The next success I've been working on is water fountains. Students have told me that it's difficult to find free water across campus, especially water outside of the toilets in some buildings. So I'm currently working with the university. We're finalizing a list of which spaces around campus need free water, and then we'll be putting these water fountains in. The next thing I've been working on is with your voice team, just finalizing our academic representation program. We've had a really great year and hit all of our key performance indicators for the new rollout of the incentives and the payment plan. So we're just taking the feedback from our reps to improve our training, to improve the program, and looking forward to next year. The next success is Academic Rep of the Month Awards. So we have picked about, I want to say 6 reps this semester to celebrate their achievements. So congratulations to all of them. And we're still picking reps of the month. So if you have a suggestion, visit our website to submit one. We put on the SU Awards Night, which included our Voice Awards, our Activities Awards, and our Superstar Awards. It was an amazing night to celebrate students and staff members that have gone above and beyond to kind of improve our university experience. It was a hit, so thank you to all that were involved, and congratulations to everyone that was nominated, shortlisted, and won. I've been working on union strategy, so I've been on the communication strategy plan, and also looking at our Let's Chat survey and how we can improve our strategies from those sides, just to make sure that the union is delivering the best experience that it can to our students. The last thing I have been working on are some regulation reviews at the end of this academic year. So I've been looking at Senate Regulation 11 and Senate Regulation 5, working with the university to make these policies more supportive of students. And I've also been working on the working hours policy and our assessment policy, just to make sure that they'll best support our students for the next academic year. So that's my last ever semester successes video. Thank you for a great 2 years. It's been a blast being an officer, and I'm gonna miss it loads. Bye.